Shame on you, Internet. Shame on you, United States. I'm the best VR boxer in the world. I re-secured my reign as best VR boxer in the world in a night. I re-secured my reign as best VR boxer in a night. And do I get anything for it? No. I'm a legend in all regards. I'm an internet legend. By all rights, what I've done is legendary. You know, you don't have to be recognized by people for what you've done to be legendary, and for you to, in all rights, be a legend. It is the simple matter of people don't show respect to people that deserve respect now. We're so in an era where we're in this Gnostic era where everyone wants to be a god. We're in an era of Gnosticism. We're in an era of Gnosticism where everyone wants to be a god, okay? We're in an era of Gnosticism where everyone wants to be a god. Shame on the women of the United States of America. I spent all night last night securing my reign as best VR boxer, okay? I hardly got any sleep. I don't get anything for being the best VR boxer in the world. And shame on the women of the United States. Shame on the United States and the world as a whole. Shame on the women of the world. Because I just spent all last night securing my reign as best VR boxer in the world. Okay? And I don't get anything for it. I am a legend in all regards. I am an internet legend. The internet's dead. The internet's never going to come back. The corporatization of the internet has destroyed any chance of the internet being the way it was during like Web 2.0 and all that. The internet is dead because of mobile browsers and applications and things like that. That has sucked all sense of that has wiped the Wild West feeling of the internet completely from the internet. That has wiped the feeling of community and cohesion from the internet. The internet now is this algorithm-driven, advertiser-driven, soulless blob. Anyone who thinks that they are of a like mind with people, no one actually believes the cult ideology you ascribe to on the internet. They don't exist. Okay, the digital cult that you subscribe to does not actually exist. Okay, if you tried to set up a meet and greet with your digital cult, you will find out that your digital cult does not exist. There are not actually physical members of your digital cult that exist that will show up to a physical location in the real world. It doesn't exist outside of like maybe 2 or 3 people. But your digital cult does not exist. Whatever hive mind on the internet you are ascribed to, it does not physically exist. The Hassan Abi Snark subredditor hive mind does not physically exist in the real world. You can never get them to gather in one location. They don't talk to each other on a regular basis. Okay, if you held a Hassan Piker Snark subredditor summit, it would not be the amount of people that it says there are on Discord, on Telegram, what? Okay, the actual number of people that actually think the way Hassan Piker's chat would lead you to believe that there's hundreds of thousands of people that think like that. That's not real. Okay, that is advertiser trickery. That is search engine optimization guy trickery. That is social media manager trickery. That is a person running the modern equivalent of a television channel. That is Hassan Abi. That is their trickery. That is production guy. That is marketing guy trickery. Okay, Hassan Piker is the Islamic Jimmy Kimmel. Okay, he's the Islamic Jimmy Kimmel, and there's not actual Jimmy Kimmel fans in existence. You're not going to run into actual people who watch late night television in the real world, and you're not going to run into someone that actually sits down and watches Hassan Piker in the real world. Those people don't exist, okay? So everything that you waste your time being obsessed with on the internet is to no end other than to benefit the employees of the influencer that you are a member of their digital cult. You're a member of an influencer's digital cult, and you're not benefiting anyone other than the private interests that are funding their elaborate money laundering scheme and the employees of their elaborate money laundering scheme. Okay? Every influencer you watch has employees. I am a one-man operation. This is a one-man operation that receives no money from you, so I say everything that I want to say. No one gives me a script. The digital cult that you are a part of, you're being recited a script that is influenced by advertiser revenue, the private interests that are funding the business that is the influencer you are watching. The influencer you are watching is the modern equivalent of a television channel or a radio show. They have employees, people hand them a script, they have things they are allowed to say and that they are not allowed to say, and people pay them to say things on top of it, okay? Other influencers come to them and they offer them goods and services in exchange for saying certain things regarding certain topics, okay? Their Discords and Telegrams and group chats are heavily moderated so that certain opinions and beliefs are not allowed to profligate, so on and so forth. Everything you believe is fake. Everything you believe is fake. Everyone that you think is a real person is not a real person, and everything you believe is fake, okay? The Discords that you go to are heavily moderated so that certain ideas don't profligate and spread in your presence. I don't get anything for being the best VR boxer in the world. If this were a fair game, ask yourself this. If YouTube were still YouTube, if YouTube were a place that it was supposed to be when YouTube was created, I've been using YouTube since YouTube existed. I know what YouTube was intended to be. YouTube was intended to be a place where user-generated content could find an audience. Okay? Ask yourself in 2025 if YouTube is a place where user-generated content can find an audience. Because I am the best VR boxer in the world. Okay? I am the best VR boxer in the world, and ask yourself this: do I get the appropriate amount of attention in a new combat sport? I'm the best in the world. The only mention of Thrill of the Fight 2's existence are curated clips that were probably paid to be pushed in the algorithm of people that made the game. Okay? The people that made the game want to advertise it as, oh, look, this is a silly little place where silly little idiots are not boxing. This is a silly little place where silly little people are having a goofy old time doing freak show fights. It's like a circus act. Look at them. They're comically winding up a punch in a loop-de-loop circle motion. Alright? That's the only mention of Thrill of the Fight 2 in the algorithm. I'm the best person that has ever played that game. There's people that get pushed in the algorithm that don't even have a record that compares to mine. Okay? There's people that get pushed in the algorithm for being a Thrill of the Fight 2 content creator that are a fart in the wind record-wise compared to me. They're a fart in the wind. They're definitely, their record doesn't hold a candle to mine. Alright? Their record sounds like, alright? Their record is a tiny little fart, and my record is a giant minute-and-a-half long ass ripping of a fart, okay? That's what my record is. My record is a long, obnoxious, flamboyant fart that goes on for 3 minutes, alright? That's what my record is. And you mean to tell me that the YouTube algorithm is going to push a Thrill of the Fight 2 content creator that's uploading records of him doing lighthearted, whimsical, silly little Thrill of the Fight 2 matches when I've streamed myself marathon after marathon, streamed myself being the best VR boxer in the world, okay? I caught back up to Yeah June. Yeah June was 65 wins ahead of me last night, okay? I'm like 15 away from catching him back up and passing him within 7 hours. Within 7 hours, I almost got 65 wins. I almost caught up and passed Yeah June in 8 hours, and he was 65 wins ahead of me. He was 65 wins ahead of me last night when I started catching back up to him. And you mean to tell me that someone doing Harlem Globetrotters, look at the silly little VR boxing game, is the one getting hundreds of wins on their, or not hundreds of wins, the one getting hundreds of views on their Thrill of the Fight 2 match uploads? That doesn't make any sense, okay? YouTube is no longer a place where user-generated content can find its audience, and I'm proof of that, okay? I got I got almost 65 wins. Yajun was 65 goddamn wins ahead of me last night, and I'm like 20 away from catching him up to passing him. I'm catching back up to him and passing him in 8 hours. I did that in 8 goddamn hours, and you mean to tell me that my uploads, my clips of me doing VR boxing get less views than someone who's pretending this game is the combat sport equivalent of being in the Harlem Globetrotters? Someone that's going do like doing fucking saloon music, like fucking winding up their punch loop-de-loop style, fucking pretending they're doing a juggling circus act, okay? When I'm doing actual competitive gameplay uploads of this, you mean to tell me people want to see someone being the lighthearted goofball and not the person that's actually the best at the game? Okay? That doesn't make any sense. That's how you know you're living in upside down stupid land. Okay? You're living in goofy upside down stupid world where people want to see someone that's not the best in the world at the game pretend they're doing a juggling circus act with the video game instead of watching the person that's the best at the video game. That's how you know you're in upside down retard land. Okay? That's how you know you're in stupid upside down retard land where no wonder No wonder traditional archetypes of masculinity don't get selected by women to reproduce in stupid upside down land where people watch people that aren't the best at something do something. Okay? No wonder women don't pick men that are literally traditional archetypes of masculinity that have been around for thousands of years, such as myself. Okay? No wonder women look at men that are traditional archetypes of masculinity, such as myself, and go, ew, ew, no thanks. Okay? It's because you fucking morons push shit in the algorithm to these women that are literal goofballs. Okay? That are literal smug goofballs that think we're living in Gnosticism land. Okay? Women pass on men that are traditional archetypes of masculinity because you nerds made algorithms that push content to women that tell them that celebrities nowadays are smug idiot class clown goofballs, D- students, okay, that were fuckboys that they dated for 2.5 days in middle school before they cheated on them with me after I sent them a picture of my giant floppy wiener on MySpace DMs, okay? That you went on to make those people the concept of what is a celebrity now, okay? You nerds that made the algorithm. So that's why women pass up on men that are traditional archetypes of masculinity that are needed in society for society to keep functioning. It's because you nerds created an algorithm that puts D- students like pirate software. Okay, you put D- students like pirate software in the spot of celebrity in this backwards Gnostic society that you've created, where D- smug nerds, okay, whom's girlfriends cheated on them with me, okay, From Software's girlfriend back in the day cheated on him with me, okay? Swear to God, your moms cheated on your smug D- student dads with me, okay? They cheated on them with me because I sent them a picture of my big floppy wiener on MySpace, okay? And then nerds in Silicon Valley went on to make this pseudo-Gnostic society where every smug D- student thinks they're going to become a god eventually when the algorithm says so, okay? And that's gotten into women's heads, this notion that these smug D- student nerds are what women should look for in a reproductive partner, okay? And that's why they pass up on men that are traditional archetypes of masculinity now, such as myself, okay? That's why I get almost 65 goddamn wins in VR boxing in a night, and women aren't lining up to acoustically slam their butt cheeks on my wiener for hours at a time, okay? You should be able to hear women slamming their butt cheeks against my hips from 3.5 miles away, because I just got 65 goddamn wins in VR boxing in within 8 hours, okay? But because you nerds made an algorithm that rewards D- smug regards that aren't even funny, with hundreds and thousands of subscribers and admiration and money from women that they don't deserve, okay? Men that their girlfriends used to cheat on them with me when I would send their girlfriends pictures of my big floppy wiener on MySpace back in middle school, from pirate software, okay? Like my dad works for Blizzard Pirate Software. Because the algorithm rewards these dorks with attention and admiration from women that they don't deserve because their dad used to work for Blizzard, okay? Now women think that traditional archetypes of masculinity, such as myself, don't deserve any respect or admiration or even to be paid the standard of living. So this is entirely your fault. This is entirely 100% your fault because you don't have enough common sense and self-awareness to go, hey, maybe what the algorithm tells me to watch is a bad idea. If you had half a smidgen of common sense, you wouldn't watch what the algorithm tells you to watch, okay? We're like 20 years into this now. We're like, don't interrupt me. Don't interrupt me. We're like 20 goddamn years into this now, and you haven't caught on to the fact that maybe what the advertiser and private interest ran algorithm is telling you to watch isn't a good idea, women, and you think you have the right to talk down to me. You think you have the right to talk down to me and tell me that I'm not a desirable man when you can't even figure out that the advertiser ran algorithm probably isn't what you should being told what you should be watching from, okay? Perhaps you shouldn't be getting told what you should and shouldn't watch from an advertiser ran algorithm. So-called women that think they still know what a desirable man does and does not look like. Okay? You don't even decide what you diddle yourself to, women. You don't even decide what you rub your hoo-ha to, women. You let advertisers decide what you flick your bean to. And you want to tell me you know what is and is not a desirable man when you don't even decide what you rub your beaver to? Women, you let the advertisers decide what you rub your beaver to. You let advertisers decide what makes your hoo-ha wet. And you want to tell me you know what you want to tell me you seriously still know how to choose a partner. You mean to tell me you seriously still know how to choose a partner, women, when you don't even choose what you rub your cooter to? You don't even choose what you rub your cooter to anymore, women. You don't even choose what you rub your coochie to. You let advertisers in Canada decide that for you. And you want to tell me you seriously still know what a desirable man looks like in 2026? You want to tell me in 2026 that you know what a desirable man looks like when you're so petrified that every pale man is the next Harvey Weinstein, that you let advertisers decide what you rub your beaver to. You women are so worried that if you let your heart decide who you slam your butt cheeks against, that you'll create the next Louis C.K., that you're going to let Canadian advertisers decide what you rub your beaver to, and then you're going to tell your daughters to let Canadian advertisers decide what you rub your beaver to and who you reproduce with. And then you're going to tell yourself that this is the feminist utopia that women sacrificed for. You're going to tell yourself the feminist utopia that women sacrificed for is one where Canadian advertisers tell your daughters what to rub their beaver to. Yeah, you're so smart, women. You're so smart, women. You're so smart letting Canadian advertisers tell you what to rub your beaver to, and letting Canadian advertisers tell your daughter who to go to the dance with. Hold on. Do you think in this day and age that, your feminist ran HR department is letting them program the algorithm in a way that is telling women that I'm a desirable man? Okay, let me tell you this. Okay, until women see my wiener, okay, women are programmed by advertisers and private interests. These women that think that they are thought leaders, these women that think that they're thought leaders are so controlled by algorithms and what advertisers tell them to goon to, that when they see me, their instinct is to scream an insult at me and then run away. That is women's instinct, unless they see my giant floppy wiener nowadays. And then even then, all they do is gawk at it. And then their instincts that have been programmed by advertisers start kicking in. The women are so programmed by advertisers that even after they see my big floppy wiener, they just start gassing themselves up like, I have to be offended by this. All right? Pornhub told me that I have to be offended by this big, pale, floppy wiener that I've seen. I need to come up with an insult to yell at this man's wiener that I'm gawking at and attracted to, and then run away because advertisers told me that I'm contributing to the next World War II Germany if I don't yell at this pale man's big floppy wiener. All right, that's how single women that say that they're whores. Okay, that's how women that listen to female rappers and gas themselves up about slamming their clam on random men's wiener react when they see my big floppy wiener. They go, man, I need to come up with a reason to be offended at this guy's giant floppy wiener. All right, so when they see my face, they go, no. Right away they go, no, I've been programmed to dislike this man's phenotype. No. That's what women do when they see my face. And then when they see my giant floppy wiener, they go, I need to come up with a reason to be mad at this guy's giant floppy wiener, even though I'm Ice Spice's and Nicki Minaj's #1 fan. I need to come up with a reason to be offended at this man's giant wiener because he's pale and because he looks like what the internet told me to be mad at. That's what women do when they see me. They go, the internet told me to be mad at this guy. CNN told me to hate this guy. Even though this guy has a giant floppy wiener, CNN told me to hate this guy. And I need to come up with a reason to yell at his giant floppy wiener and then run away angrily because the internet told me to think this way. This is literally how I get treated. This is literally how I get treated by the internet, okay? I go dating app, I flop my giant wiener out, all right? Like, I go on a dating app, all of the women are offended by my phenotype. Like, all the women are immediately offended by my face and phenotype. I have to flop my giant wiener out, and then like 300 women are gonna come up with reasons why they're offended by my giant floppy wiener, and then eventually one of them's gonna finally give me some poontang, and then it's gonna suck. Okay, that's how it goes. That's how it goes on dating apps for me now. It's just a series of me flopping my wiener out over and over and over, and then women are gonna come up with a reason to be mad at my wiener, and then one of them are gonna give me some coochie finally, and then even then it's gonna suck. Even then it's gonna suck. Okay, so that's what my life is like, and you think like I don't know. You think I don't know that you're programming the women to behave like this. Like, you think I don't know that you're programming the women to behave like this. You think I don't know that this is a programmed reaction that I'm experiencing from women. Like they think they're pulling a fast one on me. They think I'm gonna think that this is a normal response. Like they think I'm gonna think that this is a normal response and that we didn't used to live in like hunter-gatherer tribes and shit. Okay? Like they think I'm gonna think that this is a normal response and that this is how people should live. I like how the notion. I like how the notion that I have to drive. Like, where do you live? Because there's so many people that have this notion that if you drive for longer than 30 minutes, you must be going on some sort of journey. And I just need to know where you live, where everything is a 10-minute drive away, because that place doesn't exist. You don't live in a place where your job, all of the stores you go to, there's nowhere. You're just telling me you don't have a car, really, is what you're telling me. Like when you say that I drive very far and I'm going like 35 minutes away, that's just telling me that you don't have a car and that you've never driven anywhere in your life. That tells me that you don't have a driver's license. If you think an over a 30-minute drive is like a journey, you've never driven anywhere.